Game 14 for the Cardinals and Lions is underway. And it is Williams. Stopped at the 25-yard line.
Culpepper's got to pick up some first downs with his wheels.
They start with 2 tight ends on first down. Culpepper has time. Now he's on the move. Throws toward the 30-yard line and is incomplete. Intended for Brian Johnson, the former first-round pick of the Cardinals. Second down, 10. Maurice Morris. First down. And Wilson brought him down. He came in averaging only 3.7 yards a carry. It's only his 43rd rush of this season, but he picks up 12.
Well, yeah, and this is what they need out of Maurice Morris. He throws a real nice move in the hole on the defender. You watch as he's going to come here, and watch what he does to Antrell Roll. Roll's going to try to fill. He's going to shake him down, and then he's going to run over Dansby. Nice run. Way to get it started for Maurice Morris.
Calvin Johnson, 2 wide receivers on the left side. They're going to run it here. And this time Morris maybe a yard or 2. It'll bring up second and long. Clark Hagens from his outside linebacker position making the stop for the Cardinals.
And I think when you look at Darnell Dockett and you look at that group up front, Dockett comes in with 7 sacks. Calais Campbell has 6. You see Brian Robinson there, 97. He's playing well. They're going to have to get those guys slowed down. And I think part of that is running the draw, which we just saw. I mean, these guys want to get after the quarterback. They want to rush the passer, get ready for some screens, some draws, certainly some hard count.
Second and 9, Tim, and we have a penalty flag.
And there's the hard count.
It looked like Manny Ramirez from the left guard spot.
Number 63, the offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jeff Triplett, our referee.
Well, and that's a mistake you can't make. Early mistakes in games have set these guys back, and Jim Schwartz knows it. I mean, you come out, you're going to work the hard count today. You're going to get Darnell Dockett, all those guys that I just talked about that are wanting to rush the passer. You pick up an easy 5, you get it all set up, and your left guard jumps off sides.
And you touched on the Cardinal penalties and how they had trouble against the 49ers on Monday night. So a second and 14. And it's going to be third and about 13 or 14. That was Gerald Hayes making the stop on Morris. Cardinal defense felt they didn't play well enough to win, obviously, but did a pretty good job considering 7 turnovers on Monday night.
Yeah, I think if you look at this defense, and if that would have happened 3 years ago to this defense, that score would have been, 52 to 10 or something. So, the turnovers were the issue. The run defense was an issue. I thought pass defense, that's one area they've gotten shored up over the last 4 or 5 games.
Extra defensive backs on 3rd and 13. Culpepper underneath at the 40. That's Will Heller, who will be short of a first down, and it'll bring up a punting situation for Nick Harris and the Lions.
Well, and that's, to me, highlights that penalty on Manny Ramirez, and you end up getting in a 3rd and long situation, and that's easy pickings for Billy Davis, the defensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals. And all he's going to do is he's going to drop a bunch of guys deep in coverage. They're going to force the throw underneath and rally up and make the tackle and force a punt. It's exactly what they did.
You got Nick Harris from Avondale, Arizona, went to Westview High School, punting to Steve Breston for the Cardinals, who was, of course, a star at Michigan. Breston from inside his 10. Across the 10, 11-yard line. Here at Ford Field, Cardinals trying to bounce back after a loss on Monday night. Kurt Warner was held without a touchdown toss for the first time this year. But look what he's done, Tim. After a loss, 12 touchdowns, no picks, and a perfect record. On first down, Steve Breston is in, so 3 wide receivers to start with Tim Hightower and Larod Stevens howling in the backfield. The pass is low and bounces incomplete for Anquan Bolden. Beanie Wells is in and carries. Powering forward, the former Buckeye. Larry Foote stops him from going any further. It'll bring up a 3rd down. An early 3rd down test. Pass is almost intercepted. He had his fingertips on the football. Calvin Hobbs from his nickel spot. One of the backup corners, so it forces a punting situation.
Yeah, and he was just reading the eyes of Kurt Warner. And you can see there's Hobbs right there, 23. He's looking at the eyes of Warner. Warner throws it a little bit late. And he's lucky Hobbs didn't take that off and make a house call on a pick six.
Philip Buchanan back is Ben Graham, and the numbers he's putting up, whether it's inside the 20 or whether you air it out under a roof like this, he has been terrific. The Australian, I went up and said hi before the game. He said, "Hey, mate." Very authentic. Watch the rotation of the ball as it bounces and creates a little bit of an adventure for Buchanan all the way back to his 20, where he is run down. When you think Cardinals, you think about offense first, but their special teams, they are the best in the NFL when they talk about pinning teams back.
Well, and a lot of it is the punter, Ben Graham, but a lot of it is those guys right there. Michael Adams, Lerod Stevens-Howling, you saw both of them on that play. They have been outstanding in coverage.
Second possession for the Lions. Maurice Morris carries from Culpepper. And Culpepper said, "I have complete confidence in Morris. He's been a versatile player, a valuable player, a backup for most of his career, but on the spot as the starter here."
Well, and this Arizona team knows him. Remember, he did his best work with the Seattle Seahawks, did Maurice Morris, when he was backing up Sean Alexander. And Sean had some injury issues down the stretch towards the end of his career. And this guy filled in more than admirably. And I think their criteria for him when they signed him was, could he start and carry it 20 times if he had to? And they certainly felt like he could. I think we're going to see it today.
Aaron Brown comes in. They fake to him from a receiver spot. Give to Morris. Dolphins playoff hopes alive. The Ravens are in that wild card mix. You'll see them later at home against Chicago on Fox. On 3rd and 4. Culpepper, ball is batted. Caught for a first down. Wobbly, but Calvin Johnson, a big target at just over 6'5", as Culpepper shaking his arm on the completion.
Well, thank goodness he's a big target, because there was a blitz coming in his face. Michael Adams, who had been head up on Calvin Johnson and really shadowed by Calvin because you couldn't see him. Dante never saw him. He came scot-free off the edge. Dante had to throw it up, and Calvin using that big body to go get it.
So a first down for the Lions, just short of their own 35-yard line. Culpepper steps up, and the big guy's going to run at the 39-yard line. All 235 pounds before Hayes and Hagens caught up. Well, he lost some weight coming into the year, shed some 30 pounds to be active, lighter on his feet.
No, he looks great. And talking to him on Friday, I said, "When's the last time you were in this good a shape physically?" And he said it point blank before he got hurt when I was in Minnesota. And he does want to be a starter. This is a big audition for him down the stretch here in the next 3 games. This guy still wants to and feels like, Chris, he can be a starter in the National Football League.
Got to produce touchdowns. On 2nd and 6, Northcutt is in. 3 wide receivers. Maurice Morris had some room, but Darnell Dockett just wouldn't let go of him. So now it'll be 3rd down. 3rd and short. Culpepper for Aaron Brown. Penalty flag flies out. The ball was behind him. Adrian Wilson on the coverage. And both sides clapping their hands. It's maybe offensive interference.
Pass interference. Offense, number 81. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So it's called on Calvin Johnson.
And here's Calvin right here. And he was trying to get out of the way of Adrian Wilson because he knew he was going to get flagged for a pick. Wilson, of course, could not get out to the flat. That's a tough call.
Yeah, I thought looked like he was trying to avoid contact. A little bit of a fake pick, if you want to call it that. First punt, 51 yards for Harris. So on 4th and 2, they line up to kick it. Steve Preston is deep. That's a wobbly short kick that will bounce and go out of bounds. I knew it was right. An ugly punt. Warner dumps it off to Wells. Beanie Wells with a first down just short of the 40-yard line. Beanie Wells has been more of a runner lately, as you pointed out, Tim. The last 6 games, the rushing attack, and he's been the major part of that.
Well, he is a big-time talent, and when you watch him run, he's just got a different burst than some of the other guys, and I thought they stole him at the end of round number 1. I thought Rod Graves did a great job doing his scouting and picking that guy up. He did have some durability issues at Ohio State and had an ankle when he started here as a rookie, but they are absolutely loving him. His role will increase down the stretch.
2 tight ends and a penalty flag on first down.
False start. Number 74 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's left guard Reggie Wells.
Well, and they got to be sharp, right? I think if you look at Ken Wisenhunt and his football team in the last 2 weeks, penalties have been a big problem. So they've got to be sharper really on both sides of the ball, and it's pre-snap penalties like that I think that really bother.
And you can't blame the noise here at Ford Field, at least not yet. Not yet. So it's a 1st and 15. Hightower checks in. 4 wide receivers as Bolden splits way out to the left. Pass complete to Hightower, but brought down in a hurry. A head-shaking tackle from Hobbs, who made a big play on 3rd down previously to kill a drive.
Yeah, that's a nice play by Hobbs. First of all, good pressure here. That's what gets it started. Out there at left end, Cliff Averill going to go inside with a spin move there on Levi Brown. So Kurt's got to unload it. And then as he unloads it, you see right here as Hightower gets it, Kevin Hobbs is just right on him as he caught the football.
So 2nd down for Kurt Warner and 14 to go. Jason Wright is in the game, a running back who can catch the football. Instead they hand it off. It's Beanie Wells powering for a first down into Lions territory. Came in averaging 4.5 yards a carry, but the rookie with 30 relatives here from Akron, Ohio, with a big run.
Well, and this is what he does. I mean, you talk about a downhill running back. He's going to get some good blocking up front. Reggie Wells is able to seal up Landon Cohen enough. That was the key block as Reggie blocked number 98. And then you see Wells. That's what I'm talking about. That ability when he gets into the hole and gets moving. You better get your body in front of him. An arm tackle, Chris, is not going to do it.
Not a good sign if you're the Lions. They were run over last week. Wells carries again for a good chunk of yardage down to the 42-yard line.
Well, and look at their play selection, Chris. First 7 games, 31% rush, 69% pass. And then over the last 6 games, they have rededicated to the run game. And really, it's the Steeler run game. Ken Wisenhunt and Russ Grimm, the offensive line coach / coordinator. I mean, they got a couple of plays. It's a G power to the edges, and then they've got the ISO play straight downhill, and they make it work.
2nd down 4. Might as well keep it with Wells. And it looks like he has another first down. Yes, the Steeler run game, but with weapons like Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden.
Well, and with weapons like Dan Kreider at fullback, the old Steeler. And you think about this team, and here's Danny Kreider right here. And he's going to lead up in the hole. This is the ISO play that I was talking about. The back on a backer is what they call it. You saw the vision there by Beanie Wells. That thing was supposed to go out to the B gap there, and he was able to see something inside and cut it right back. But Danny Kreider and his addition to this football team, along with Anthony Beck, the blocking inline tight end, has been a big part of the explosion in their run game.
So he didn't get the first. It's 3rd and 1. And Wells is stopped and thrown for a loss, and Larry Foote, the ex-Steeler and former Wolverine star, the emotional leader of this team, with a big stop on Wells.
Outstanding play. Foote 55. This is the Bob player, the ISO play. Watch what he does to Dan Kreider in the backfield. He is going to get downhill, meet Kreider in the hole, keep his outside shoulder free, exactly like he was supposed to do it, and get a tackle for loss. You can't do it any better, Chris, than Larry Foote did right there.
Dennis Northcutt back to return, and Ben Graham, who uses golf analogies when he tries to pin the ball, so this is probably a wedge for him. Watch how he can stick it and spin it back. This a little bit short, and it's fumbled. Northcutt in and out of his hands, and the Cardinals have it. So whatever the rotation, you got to credit Ben Graham with part of that. Northcutt the other half, and the recovery. LaRod Stevens-Howling has been terrific at special teams for these Cardinals.
Yeah, and the flight of that ball makes it hard for Northcutt to catch. Now he fades a little bit to the left. I think that ball, because of the spin that he puts on it, came down funny and kind of tailed off to the left. Northcutt has returned and fielded a billion punts in his career. And I think part of that, the way that ball was coming down, and it tailed it to the right and got off his shoulder pad. That is a critical critical error.
You got a left-footed Australian rules football guy kicking you the thing. You almost don't know what to do, but he turns it over. So a big break for the Cardinals. 2 tight ends on first down. Wells powers forward. Let's take a look at the kick and slowly, Tim, how it may be difficult. See, he drops it a little bit differently.
And watch how he drops it with the point down. Second down and 5. Watch how it just comes out of his hand, point down. So he's going to boom it, and it's going to be end over end. There's no spiral. It's one of those flippers. It's going end over end.
He said it gives him more control, but you don't get as much distance. But he didn't need distance.
It's hard to field that kind of punt.
Second down 5. Preston checks in.
Watch Bolden on the outside.
In the red zone, this team is deadly. Preston knocked out of bounds short of the goal line, but it looks like he may have enough for a first down as D'Angelo Smith kept him from scoring. The Cardinals are the best team when it comes to scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, and because they run and pass. Watch the block by Larry Fitzgerald, and this is the key. He blocks Buchanan. Buchanan's got to be out here. Philip Buchanan has got to keep his outside shoulder free and force that thing to cut back to the other defender. And really what happened, because he got locked inside with Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald was able to wall off 2 defenders, which allowed the ball carrier to Preston to get down to about the 1 or 2 yard line.
So, Tim, it's first and goal for the Cardinals. Scoreless here in the opening quarter, 1:45 to play. 2 tight ends. Fakes to Wells for Larry Fitzgerald. Touchdown, Cardinals. Will James was back there bobbling it, but Larry sure-handed with his 11th touchdown catch of the year.
Well, that was a great catch. I don't think it was a great throw based on the coverage. Probably the location, and Kurt will take the touchdowns all day, but he'd probably want that on the back shoulder of Larry Fitzgerald. You see where the defender is? The ball probably should be back there. Kurt puts it up, trusting Larry Fitzgerald's going to come down with it, and Fitz just does a great job of concentrating on the ball, never losing sight of it, and getting himself a touchdown.
And William James batted it away, just not far enough away. Fitzgerald ties Vernon Davis for the lead in touchdown catches this season, and he said after pregame warmups, my knee feels fine, missed some practice. He had that bone contusion. He has a wrap on, not a brace, and James figures, hey, I did everything you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it was good coverage. Larry's just that good in his ability to finish the play, and if you look at him over the last couple of years, there can't be a more productive wide receiver in the game. 3 straight years now for Fitz, over 10 touchdowns.
Nugent for Derek Williams. The turnover kills the Lions, so they're in a hole 7-0.
Larry Fitzgerald, Chris, 8 red zone touchdowns this season, 2nd most in the NFL, and he's coming off an injury from that 49er game, and he's got some bubble wrap on his right knee. He's got a sprained MCL, the medial collateral ligament. That's the one that runs down the inside of the knee. But he also has a bone bruise on the knee. This was in pregame, so he's got it wrapped up. You can see the tape under the sock, but he's also got bubble wrap over the kneecap to help give him some cushion from that bone bruise on his knee.
Missed some practice time this week, but worked out Friday. Said I'm good to go. On 1st and 10, Culpepper. Complete. Did he hang on? He hit the ground and let it go. Incomplete. Will Heller had it, the tight end. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Jim Schwartz last week saw his team move the ball but fall behind and never dug themselves out of the hole.
Well, and watch what Calvin Johnson does. They got to get other guys to step up. You got Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie behind him. You got Antrell Roll in front of him. They've got to have other guys, whether it be Northcutt, Brian Johnson, or Will Heller, who you saw right there drop the ball. Those guys have got to make plays, Chris, when the opportunity presents itself.
No, 54, 20, 54. Go to that.
Maurice Morris, nowhere, nailed for a loss. The Lions trying to get their 3rd win of the year, trailing 7-0 on 3rd and 14. Cardinals send 4. Culpepper heaves it deep. Calvin Johnson, middle low, and he underthrew him. It's intercepted. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie goes out of bounds. 2nd turnover of the game for this Lions team. This time an underthrown ball, and Johnson was open, and the crowd is frustrated.
And again, look at the jerseys. Calvin Johnson looks like he's by himself here, and he was, but the ball comes out so late that window just slammed shut. And Dante Culpepper is, you know, they got enough pressure on him. They got him off his spot. That play took a while to develop. By the time he noticed Calvin was open down the seam and threw it, the other defenders were all over it, and they came and made an interception. And I know this, whenever you're throwing to Calvin, and Dante told us this the other day, you absolutely cannot underthrow him. That was an underthrown ball.
Not at nearly 6'6". Fourth interception of the year for Rogers Cromartie. Kurt Warner has Bolden. First down at the 32-yard line.
And I think the thing with this Detroit team is there has been a flinch point in about every game where they just don't recover from it.
Back at Ford Field, the two-headed rushing attack. Tim Hightower, Beanie Wells has gotten the carries today. But Hightower, his first on the ground, brought down at the 30s. We start the second quarter along with Tim Ryan, Chris Myers. You get the impression that Wells, the rookie, is going to become the go-to guy more and more.
Absolutely. Look at the numbers and look at how similar they are in the number of attempts and the yards per rush at about 4.4. Now, where Tim Hightower has been better is in the passing game, and big part of that is the familiarity with the pass protection. I know Chris Beanie Wells needs to improve on that some, but the more he has gotten healthier, that being Beanie Wells, I think the more we're going to see him here in the last 3 weeks and into the playoffs for Arizona.
Hightower with a thumb injury that has aggravated things. 4 wide receivers on second down, and that's complete. Good tackle, but Preston brought down. Looks like he's right near the first down marker. Mentioned that Preston played his college ball at Michigan. Easy to get lost on a team that has Bolden and Fitzgerald, but everything they ask him to do, he does well.
Well, probably the unsung hero of the Super Bowl run last year. The guy had over 1,000 yards, and that's where he has really exceeded expectations. They drafted him as a return guy. Rod Graves went and got him to return kicks and to return punts, and he has been able to light it up as a receiver. That's been a major bonus.
Rod Graves, the general manager, has done a terrific job building them into a Super Bowl team. On 3rd and 1. Warner fakes and is nailed. Pouring in is Jason Hunter from his left end spot on 3rd and 1. The sack.
Well, here's Jason Hunter right here, and he is just going to fly up the field. He is not going for any of the down block fakes. He's just going after the quarterback, and Kurt Warner, it was not a good fake there on the handoff to Hightower, and as he turned around, he had no idea. Jason Hunter was right in his face for the sack. Sack number 3 of the year for Jason Hunter.
So Mike Nugent, who started with Tampa Bay, 2 of 6 field goals for the Bucs. First attempt as a Cardinal from 48 yards. It's up there. It's out there. And it is right through the heart there. So Mike Nugent, following his 48-yard field goal, boots it to Derek Williams from the goal line. And the rookie gets it out across the 30-yard line. A nifty return. Maurice Morris carries. 2 turnovers for the Lions, and the Cardinals produce points off of both of those. It'll be second down.
How good is Adrian Wilson? I mean, you see a lot of what he does, and here he's just a C-gap defender. You're going to see him over here. They slant the front, and he's just going to fill in and be what you call the C-gap defender. And in between the offensive tackle and the tight end, picture perfect, he goes down and makes the tackle. That guy was out of his mind last week against San Francisco, Chris. He played a great football game.
Pass to Bryant Johnson, short of a first down. Todd Heller moving on 3rd and 1, and somebody else moved. The Lions shooting themselves in the foot.
False start. Number 45 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
It's on fullback Jerome Felton. Remember, Terrell Smith, the team's other fullback, was cut after a disappointing performance in Baltimore last week. Jim Schwartz, a no-nonsense guy who doesn't sugarcoat things.
No, he doesn't, and I know the players love him, and I know they feel like, and the players will tell you the same thing, this team desperately needs an infusion of talent, Chris, at several positions, and I think they're going to achieve that, at least start to achieve that in the offseason.
Here comes extra pressure. Time for Culpepper, who throws, and that's good enough for a first down as Dennis Northcutt, the third receiver. Tim, you said somebody had to step up because they're clouding and all over Calvin Johnson. And Culpepper, with a 10-yard pickup, needs to produce some points here for this Lions team.
Well, and then you look at, like I said, we want to start at this offseason. Chris, they really started it last offseason when you look at the draft picks, who is going to be a nice base. This will be a nice core for this football team. And they all have been out there playing quite a bit, several of them starters this season.
1st and 10. Morris gets a carry. I'm sorry, that's Jerome Felton from the fullback spot. And he powers all the way down to the 47-yard line. Well, I asked Jim Schwartz about players in this game. He said, we're not playing for next year or trying out anybody. We've made roster changes. We're trying to win a game. And those are the guys I'm putting out on the field today. And that's why Culpepper said if he has another bad game like he did against Baltimore, then we may have to consider making a move. But I'm trying to win a football game. 2nd down 3. Felton remains in. He carried the last time. Number Kevin Smith out injured for the Lions, as is Matthew Stafford. Felton powering hard. 2nd-year player from Furman. 3rd down and 1. Felton has carried the last 2 times. And Felton powers for a first down. The fullback from Furman. And the Lion fans said, wait a minute, I thought Maurice Morris was the running back. Felton, who carried 575 times in college at Furman for 63 touchdowns, he said, I may surprise y'all, but I know how to run with the football.
Well, and it's good to get him in there in the short yardage. They had Jake Norton up in front of him, tight end playing fullback, so they just basically rocked him back to the tailback spot. Picked up a big first down there.
7th play of the drive on 1st and 10. Best looking drive of the day for the Lions.
They got to take a shot to Calvin here.
Cardinals threaten blitz, and somebody jumped for the Lions.
False start. Number 65 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Dylan Gandy, who's starting for Daniel Loper. Called for the penalty, and we've had quite a few of those. And
there's the tight lips again.
When the lip gets tight, you don't want to be anywhere near Jim Schwartz. 3rd penalty for Detroit.
You got tight lips everywhere. Linehan's doing the same thing.
That's what a 2-11 record will do for you. So now it's 1st and 15. Why make it more difficult?
Well, and now being 1st and 15, they're not going to get the opportunity to have Calvin in a one-on-one matchup down the sideline like they just did in perfect position, as Arizona had a safety up in the box, which gave a one-on-one matchup on the outside. You get them in long situations, you're going to see what we've seen all game with Arizona just trying to keep it in front of them and rally up to make the tackle.
And Calvin is at the top of your screen. That's him moving. Brian Johnson.
They did it again.
False start. Number 77 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
That's Gosder Sherrillis, and you can see Jim Schwartz. It's as if he was looking for somebody else to put in.
Absolutely, I think that's what he was. We're going to find that offensive line coach.
Well, for the Cardinals, they're saying, well, we had that problem on defense Monday night against San Francisco. Now it's 1st and 20, as you heard Jeff Triplett. It's still first down. Culpepper has it and has time. He's got Maurice Morris, who gets back inside the original line of scrimmage. A good pickup on first down. They're at the 40-yard line. We'll call it 12 yards.
And I would think when you look at Culpepper, he's really got to focus on that medium-range passing game today, because they are going to send defenders deep with Calvin Johnson, period. Everybody does the same thing to him. And you're going to see defenders running deep with Calvin Johnson if they send him that way all day today, which means he's clearing it out and opening a lot of space up for the underneath routes.
You saw Jake Norton come in 2 tight ends on 2nd down. That's Norton moving. They're going to run it to Morris, who slips down to the 35. And it was Adrian Wilson who said every quarterback has a weakness. And some quarterbacks think they can make every throw, and it's obvious that Dante Culpepper is not making every throw.
Well, I think he's physically capable. I think, and they'll tell you how many times have we heard in the last couple of weeks that Dante can get up at 3 a.m. and throw a spiral. Now he can do that. You watch him warm up down there, and he's still got a big cannon. But I think a big part of it is the pressure in his face, and then unloading it late, Chris, has forced him to underthrow Calvin several times over the last couple of games.
3rd and 4. Morris. He's going to be short. And you're looking at a 52 or 3-yard field goal on 4th down.
Really good play here by Bertrand Berry, just shutting down the perimeter. And you're going to see him right here, and he gets out. And watch how he keeps his outside shoulder free. Because you saw right there, Maurice Morris wanted to get to the edge. Bertrand Berry, with great discipline, keeping the shoulder free, forces the cut back up inside. There's plenty of help with the Arizona defenders right there.
The 54-yard attempt for Jason Hansen. He has 1 over 50 this year. He's been struggling. 71% of his field goals overall. And that's a long way to go, but he misfires. Here in Detroit, Dante Culpepper calling the offense over, talking about needing to get things going in the right direction, trailing Arizona 10-0. Jim Schwartz frustrated after failing. And last week, they moved the ball well in the first half against Baltimore, fell behind, and then it got out of hand. So they leave good field position for the Cardinals as Beanie Wells carries for a first down. Luis Delmas from his safety spot, the rookie from Western Michigan, made the stop after a 13-yard pickup.
Absolutely, just creased him off the right side. I want you to watch the block right there by the right guard, Deuce Latui, and watch what he does to Landon Cohen. That's what you call a pancake right there. Puts Landon Cohen on his back. Jason Wright is able to chop down Ernie Sims in the hole. He got Beanie Wells for a 10-plus yard gain.
Delmas limped off with an injury toward the sideline. On 1st and 10. Warner has time to throw. And just gets rid of it. Tim, I want to go back to a moment, if we could, on the 54-yard field goal. You run it on 3rd down. Should you gamble on 4th? You're trailing 10-0. You're a 2-win team. You're at home. You're in a hole.
No, get points. Get some points. And I understand, you know, they've already got a couple of turnovers. And I know Hansen's having a bad year, but he's very capable of going 50-plus. He just missed it out to the right. You make that, it's a 1-touchdown game. So I don't fight him on that.
Hansen did miss the field goal in Baltimore early.
Yes, he did.
That was one of those tipping
They never
points.
recovered from it, Chris. They really didn't. That was one of those flinch points I was talking about. They missed that field goal early, and they really never responded positively after.
Fitzgerald has it inside the 40. It'll bring up 3rd down off the quick throw. Clock continues to run. 5.5 minutes to go here in the first half, and the Lions did try the blitz here.
Well, and if you're going to blitz, and watch. There's the blitz right there, and which means the safety, Marvin White, is coming over to the top, and that's just a good thing. And they told us that last night. Kurt's got to find the hots. When Detroit's going to blitz, Kurt has got to find the hot receiver. That's the receiver who's going to be open versus a specific blitz. That time he found the hot receiver, which was Larry Fitzgerald.
So Hightower's in, 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 4. The Lion defense has done a good job of tightening up in these spots against Warner. Pressure, quick throw. Oh, that was nice. That is Bolden for a first down. Pressure again, and Kurt Warner's one of the best when you blitz him. A 9-yard pickup.
Well, he's always been one of the best because he sees it. He's like an old hunting dog. He just sniffs it out when he smells that it's coming, and you see him right there. He's 4th in the NFL versus the blitz. QB rating up over 100. He knows where to go with the football. He's done it a million times. That's why I think and what you saw there was in terms of the formation with the bunch sets and all the stack routes. Kurt knows he's getting zone because you cannot man that. He knew right where he was going with the ball, Chris, pre-snap.
And all those quarterbacks you just saw are going to the playoffs. On 1st and 10, Warner complete. Made it look easy. That's his tight end, Ben Patrick, down inside the 2-yard line.
If you don't get there and get pressure on him and get hits on him, he's just going to pick you apart if you blitz him.
Tim Hightower, touchdown Cardinals. The #1 team in the red zone on 1st down, punches it in. So the Lions, like last week, try to hang in there But eventually, especially against an offense like this, it's going to break your back. And that's what Hightower does, his 7th touchdown this year. So Nugent on to kick the extra point. Set up, by the way, that 28-yard pitch and catch. Ben Patrick from Kurt Warner. And it's 17-0. Offensive line coach helps call the plays. Russ Grimm was a hog himself, and that offensive line that he has working that set up the Tim Hightower touchdown run. And Grimm, by the way, a semifinalist for this year's Hall of Fame class, deserving to be in there as Nugent kicks off. And Derek Williams again from his 5. Another good return out across the 30. Calvin Johnson has just 1 catch for 8 yards, and Dante Culpepper 5 out of 9 with an interception of just 44 yards. We showed you him on the sideline with the offense moments ago. Let's see if they can respond, because there's not a lot of room for error here, trailing 17.
Yeah, they got to change the mentality, and this is their psyche is very fragile when you look at this Detroit team, and down 17-0. You got to ask yourself, Chris, mentally, how do they respond?
Culpepper on the run, and incomplete intended for Brian Johnson, but back there covering Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, and again it looked like Calvin Johnson was covered well.
Yeah, here he is. You're going to see 2 guys on Calvin again. You got McFadden running deep with him. You got Adrian Wilson underneath, so they're bracketing him up. That was just well defended. I think Billy Davis has done a fine job, the defensive coordinator, with these Arizona Cardinals, and you saw there on the bootleg action, it's really a 3-level route. You have a short, you have a medium, and you have a deep. Every one of those guys at every level were covered by Arizona. Nowhere to go with the ball for Dante.
2nd down 10. Dennis Northcutt has checked in. Culpepper has it for Calvin Johnson. He could not hold on. He reached back and had a good opportunity to grab the football.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier.
We got a penalty.
Yeah, we got a penalty down. You got to make plays. I mean, they're few and far between. When the opportunity presents itself, make the catch.
Illegal contact. Defense number 21. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
It's on Antrell Roll, Tim, so it'll give the Lions a fresh set of downs.
There's Roll right there on Calvin Johnson, and just touching him, trying to reroute him. You can't reroute guys after 5 yards. You just can't do it. I mean, football 15 years ago, that was fine. Or I think now, when that guy gets past that 5-yard chuck zone, hands off, or you're getting illegal contact.
Michael Adams, Rashad Johnson come in for Ken Wisenhunt. Extra defensive backs on first down for Culpepper. That's Morris, and he might have a couple. That'll bring up 2nd down. Later this afternoon, the 49ers playing at Philadelphia, and San Francisco fans were hoping maybe the Lions could slow down Arizona to leave their playoff hopes alive. And also Baltimore moved to a later start at home against the Bears. A win by the Cardinals, a loss by San Francisco later today. They clinched the NFC West, back-to-back division titles. These Lion fans hoping for hope above all else in Detroit. Culpepper goes down at the 35-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Tim Wright, Chris Myers on 3rd and 12 here at Ford Field. And there is pressure. Picked up and buried is Culpepper. If you knew it, how come the Lions couldn't recognize
Well, I think they did, because they got a blocker in his face, but they couldn't block Clark Haggans. And Haggans slipped up inside, which forced Dante to retreat out of the back of the pocket. See, here's Haggans, there's Wilson. They're both going to come, but watch Clark Haggans slips underneath, forces Dante to retreat. Maurice Morris did not do a good job of blocking Adrian Wilson, and they come down with a sack. You know, Detroit have given up a sack, at least 1 sack, Chris, in every game this season.
So Harris on to punt. The Cardinals burn a timeout. They have 2 remaining as Preston will get ready to set up another scoring opportunity. Arizona, you heard Ken Wisenhunt say, you know, I thought we were a team that was past being too satisfied, falling into that trap. They felt they were a better team than San Francisco. They didn't play that well. They got beat. against a team like this, they have to outperform them, and that's what they're doing so far.
Look at what they've done. This is over the last 2 games, Chris. 7 punts. Look at the turnovers, the missed field goals.
And it's put
where's the TDs? Where are they on that list?
It wears on your defense. The Lions defense,
that's right,
has given up 227 points in the first half this season. Preston at the 31-yard line. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. We at Fox Sports salute all our servicemen and servicewomen around the globe enjoying the NFL on Fox. Happy holidays to you and your family, and thank you for what you do for the United States of America. Warner to Hightower on first down. He gets across the 35-yard line. Clock running here. You know, Kurt Warner said he was okay after the concussion last week, but it was more a groin that was bothering him. But at 38 years old, any kind of wear and tear sometimes has an effect.
Yeah, I think if you're Detroit defensively, we remember what happened last week right before the half. They critically, I mean, they've got to have a stop, not only score-wise, but for their psyche here before the halftime.
Everything underneath as he completes to Bolden at the 46-yard line. They do have 2 timeouts remaining. It's a 10-yard pickup. Warner with his 24th touchdown pass of the year in the first quarter. And then Hightower ran one in. Warner off the hands of Preston. He threw it a little early before Steve made the turn.
Well, that was a great throw. I mean, you talk about anticipating the cut on Steve Preston right into that hole, cover 2 hole behind the corner in front of the safety, and Kurt sees that window. That window's open. He fires it right as Preston turns. That ball was just on him in a hurry with a lot of heat on it. Preston's got to make that catch, but it's amazing how Kurt Warner can see those windows, anticipate those windows, and then find guys before the windows close up most of the time.
11 out of 15 for Warner, over 100 yards. Bolden has it. First down at the 35. He's hit 6 different receivers so far. They're going to use their second timeout. Well, they're clicking here. Not on this play. Incomplete. But he said his players said, our coach was more disappointed than angry with us on Monday night. But as Wisenhunt said, look, we do control things. I mean, we still have our position lined up. If we win, we're going to the playoffs.
Well, and remember last year they finished 9-7, and then their defense started making plays. And I'll say this, their offense will not push them to Miami into the Super Bowl this year. I think their offense will continue to show up as long as the ball security issues take care of themselves. But defensively, and even Darnell Dockett told us, that's what's going to win them the championship that they desire.
On 2nd and 10, it's Hightower, short of the first down, but inside the 30. Last year they used Edgerrin James with Hightower to make that push on the ground, and they'll have Beanie Wells now, the rookie, who, as you said, had a late start with the ankle and off-season workouts, but he looks like he's in a groove.
And I think they're just a much better run team this year with the addition of that guy. And as you talked about earlier with Russ Grimm, you know, this offensive line's been playing together for a while now. They got continuity. That makes a difference.
Fitzgerald overthrown. It could have been intercepted.
There's a flag down on the field. You got to make those plays.
We've seen a lot of those misplays by the Lions.
It is hands to the face. Number 98 in the defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Landon Cohen guilty of the penalty. You've talked about windows, passing windows for Warner.
Yep, and Kurt sees it. I mean, Kurt sees it. There's the window right there. I mean, there's the window. Now watch what happens as it closes up. You're going to get a trail defender. Yeah, that ball's just overthrown. And look, the window closed, but Louis Delma, you got to make that play, and it probably is for naught with the penalty to Landon Cohen, but you got an opportunity to do something. You got to seize the moment.
And the Cardinals are going to use their last timeout. All right, LaRod Stevens-Howley comes in on 1st and 10, and he lines out as a receiver. Warner, end zone for Fitzgerald, a little bit long. 20 seconds to go here. No timeouts remaining for the Cardinals on 2nd and 10.
We're just trying to crease that cover 2 right down the middle of the defense. It's 2 carry or 2 buck, whatever you want to call it, in the old Tampa Bay Buccaneer cover 2. And you got the middle linebacker running the field. Watch the layout right there, right over the middle linebacker, Larry Foote.
Warner was hit, the ball came out. Let's see, the official rules it on the field as a fumble, and they say that the Lions have it. It was Cliff Averill who got to Warner and knocked the ball out. Could not tell if his arm was going forward, but the official has ruled it a fumble and recovery Lions.
Yeah, here's Cliff Averill. He's going to go around Levi Brown. You'll see it as he dips, get to the edge. There's the ball right there. Ball's coming out, empty hand going forward. That's a fumble.
Booth review, obviously under 2 minutes if necessary.
Yeah, that's a fumble because that ball is already out of his hand. As you saw Cliff Averill reach up with his right hand and swat the arm of Warner. And you'll just watch very simply an empty hand come forward. You see the hand right there is empty. It's coming forward. That's a fumble.
The Lions have burned a timeout. They would take over at the 27-yard line. Jim Schwartz's team has 2 timeouts, but only 11 seconds. The turnovers last week, there were 7 of them. 5 fumbles, 2 interceptions, a fumble here, the first for Arizona.
Well, and that was the problem last week, was the pressure. And it wasn't all blitz. It was 3-man, it was 4-man pressure. And you looked at that offensive line, you know, going into the game, they were giving up a sack on Warner 1 every 22 throws. Last week versus a lot of 4-man rush, it was a sack every 7 throws. So, and I think that's one area when you're Detroit defensively and they go into the locker room here at halftime, they're got to say to themselves, look, we've made a couple of critical errors, we've hurt ourselves, but we're getting pretty good pressure with 4 guys. Let's stay with it.
16 fumbles for the Arizona team. That's the most in the NFL. That's 5 for Kurt Warner. On first down for the Lions. That's underneath the north cut. Got a lot of good yardage to the 47-yard line. 3 seconds left at a timeout for Detroit, so they'll have a chance maybe for a Hail Mary or try to get a pass interference, get some points on the board. 20-yard pickup, great effort from Northcutt. Here, you talked about the Lions missing little things, the turnovers that set up points, the penalties that hurt drives or allowed Arizona to continue drives.
Well, it's been self-destruction, Chris, for a good portion of this year. Again, a couple of bad things happen. And then the mentality twist on him and said, oh, here we go again thing mentally.
Penalty flag. Culpepper for the end zone. And through the end zone.
Wilson ran into the
If it's on the Detroit Lions, that will end the first half.
Can you give them 3 points for that?
Holding number 77 of the offense. The penalties decline. Half is over.
Culpepper's gone all the way for the Lions on offense. I wonder if we'll see Drew Stanton. We saw him warming up during the half. But the Cardinals have the ball first as Hansen boots it. And the rookie from Pittsburgh bobbles it at the goal line. And is brought down, hit hard at the 10-yard line. What a shot. Zach Follett with the tackle. Let's check it down on the field with Jennifer Hammond. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Chris. And I'll tell you something that Ken Wisenhunt said in the first half. He was pleased with the way that his defense played. But one thing that he does want to see is for his offense to capitalize more when they have the ball. They had some opportunities. He said, on 3rd and short, we need to be better. As for head coach Jim Schwartz, he was very animated. A few words that I probably can't use. He said, our defense left us in there, and then all of a sudden we fouled things up on special teams, the penalties, the turnovers. He said, we have got to make sure we play these final 30 minutes, and most importantly, we have got to get rid of the ball.
Thanks, Jennifer. And good defense on a first down carry by Hightower as Grady Jackson clogs the middle. And we saw them last week when they were embarrassed the way Baltimore ran through them.
Well, no doubt. And look at last week versus this week, just in the first half. They were almost 16 yards a carry. Ray Rice and the Ravens just tore them up. And I'll say this, you know, you looked at Detroit last week and thought they would play better at the line of scrimmage. The 3 previous games to that, they had held the opponent's rushing attack to about 3 yards a carry. So they're hoping to get back to that here in the second half, just shutting down that running game for the Cardinals.
3 wide receivers. Preston checks in. They're going to run it. That's Hightower. It'll bring up a 3rd down. This could be an important stop for the Lions in terms of field position. Their best scoring chance was a 54-yard field goal attempt missed by Hansen.
And a good play here by the big fella Grady Jackson, all 340 pounds of him. And watch what he does to Reggie Wells here in Lyle Sendeline. He's just going to eat the double team. He's going to shake off of it and make a perfect tackle in the hole. That's good by the old fella. Grady Jackson.
Warner 13 out of 19 on 3rd and 8. There are 4 receivers in the game. That's Bolden moving to the right. For Fitzgerald, who has it. A tough hit, but a first down catch. And Larry Fitzgerald, his 4th career 1,000-yard season as he goes over the 1,000-yard mark for this year.
And Fitzgerald's just going to run that dig route. Kurt Warner made this famous in St. Louis. He's just going to cut it up in front of the safety. Good job by Warner, too, just feeling his way in the pocket. Had to step up. There was some good pressure coming from his right side. He stepped up, climbed the ladder in the pocket, and delivered a strike.
And Fitzgerald, his 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard season, as well as carries. And for Fitzgerald, he's the first Cardinal to have 3,000-yard seasons consecutively, and a penalty flag in on the end of that play. A big 3rd down gets a first down, and then on the first down run, discussing the possibility of a face mask against the Lions.
And that's a shame, too, because you have the play defended perfectly. If you're Averill.
Defense. It's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, and this has kind of been the microcosm of this football team this year. I mean, you make a good play, and you, in the middle of it, you grab the mask and make a mistake. So, I mean, that thing was defended perfectly by Averill. Then you had Louis Delmas coming out from the outside to get in. Would have been a terrific play, tackle for loss. All for nothing because you get a stupid penalty.
And for Lion fans, it must feel like Groundhog Day and deja vu all rolled into one. First down carry, Beanie Wells. Couple of yards.
We just saw Averill do it on the other side. Now you're going to see Jason Hunter do it here. Look at his alignment, how wide he is. They call that a 9 technique. They want everything funnel into the inside, so it's very difficult to get the edge when you're facing a 9 technique defensive end. You see is just so wide there, it's really almost impossible for Levi Brown to get out there and to be able to hook him to get that thing to the perimeter. And that's what Jim Schwartz did at Tennessee. That's what made him so good.
2nd and 8. Warner quick pass, pressured short for Bolden as Warner goes down on the turf. Pressure there from the rush.
And they brought Delmas as well. They brought Delmas out from his safety position, really lined up as a linebacker. Once Delmas, you're going to see him right here. And watch Kurt Warner, his launch point, you know he's going to be behind the center. So you got to get him off the spot. And you were right, Julian Peterson and Louis Delmas together came in and forced Warner, Chris, to unload that football before anything could develop downfield with his wide receivers.
So the defense of the Lions, another test on 3rd and 8. They've been getting pressure on Warner. There's extra pressure. He has enough time, pulls it back down, throws low, incomplete. It was a tough catch, but Ben Patrick should have made it. It would have been a Cardinal first down.
And again, they come with pressure, and you get Kurt Warner moving. Kurt Warner will hold the football, and when Kurt Warner does not hit his back foot and the ball comes out on time, you have a chance to get him moving around a little bit and break down their offense. And there they dialed up some pressure and got Kurt to make an errant throw again.
Northcutt lets it go this time. And it's the Ben Graham wedge that bounces and sticks in the green. The Lions take over on offense. Here in Detroit, Drew Stanton has replaced Dante Culpepper. Apparently Jim Schwartz with a possible challenge.
Detroit is challenging that Arizona had 12 on the field during the kick.
That's simple enough. It is reviewable. They can go to the tape and check that. It's going to be the Lions football no matter what, but it may cost them a timeout if indeed Arizona did not have an extra man on the field. Drew Stanton, 2nd round draft pick in his 3rd year, 1st year on injured reserve from Farmington Hills, and Michigan State will take over for Dante Culpepper. Remember, the emergency quarterback is Matthew Stafford. He has to be off the field.
Here it is right here. There's the 12th man. There's the 12th man on the field.
And where's the snap of the ball in relation?
They're just walking. I mean, he's still in the field to play, still in the field to play. Ball snap. There it is. That's the 12th man.
If he has 1 foot on the field.
No doubt. No doubt. Very good review to call for the review from Jim Schwartz.
After review, the kicking team does have 12 men participating in the play. It is a 5-yard penalty, which will be added to the end of the kick First down. Detroit is not charged a timeout.
So an astute observation on the part of the Lions. That's something going well for them today.
Well, and you buy a few extra yards for Drew Stanton, who has thrown 11 passes this year, and he's got a couple of interceptions. And you also got some changes up front. You see there Daniel Loper is in for Manny Ramirez at left guard.
Actually, John Jansen is coming in at right tackle.
Right,
for
there's
Cherilus.
Loper at left guard. There's Jansen, who's coming in for Gosder Cherilus out at right tackle.
And Stanton will have an opportunity to operate this offense. And Jim Schwartz said before the game, we're not trying anybody out for next year. We're trying to win the game. And he thought that Culpepper on the road finally had a game with Calvin Johnson last week to work on timing as the crowd approves of Stanton taking over. And Aaron Brown comes in. He said if Culpepper struggles, we'll make the change. And he has. Fake to Brown. They give to Morris. It'll be second down.
Well, and I think, you know what Jim Schwartz said last week after that game, there's going to be accountability. And Gosder Cherilus, who was not very good in the first half, had a couple of penalties. Had the false start, had a holding penalty right before the end of the half, was not good. Manny Ramirez, their 63, started the play with a penalty. Wasn't the first time he's done that this year. Offensively come out and you start out with a foul. So there's the accountability. They're making changes up front with Loper and Jansen.
21.
Stanton for Brian Johnson. First down Lions. Jim Schwartz at least wants the team to be competitive. And if Stanton helps him do that, their defense hung in there in the first half. Their offense, and you pointed it out, Tim, just failed to produce points. As Stafford has that non-throwing shoulder injury, and you wonder if he'll even see the field again this year.
Well, you want to have the Wells Fargo truck out there without a lock on the door? I'll ask you.
He's their future. He and Calvin Johnson, that gives you something to build on.
Protect the investment.
Morris with the catch, couldn't spin out of the tackle of O'Keefer. And he is getting rid of the ball quicker.
Well, he's getting to his back foot, and he's using the underneath passing game, and they should. I mean, Calvin Johnson is such a weapon. He is such a big play guy down the field. Everybody knows they want to send him down the seams or down the sideline, and he will continuously pull defenders out of the zones. So I think Northcutt, I think Bryant Johnson, and I think Will Heller and Maurice Morris, those other guys, weapons in the passing game, have got to step it up underneath Calvin Johnson.
Second down 8. And they fake to Brown again and give to Morris. It'll bring up a third down. You saw Jason Hanson. He came out during the half to work on his kicking. Missed a 54-yarder, but hitting 71% of his field goals. That's the worst for him, Mr. Reliable, since 2001. And the Lions just aren't good enough. And as we talked about in that Ravens game last week, an early miss and they tumbled backwards. See if Stanton can provide a spark as he opens the second half at quarterback on 3rd and 4.
24. 30.
Northcutt out of the slot.
24.
Good protection. Quick throw, a little high for Brian Johnson. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie covering, but that was not catchable. So for Stanton, the first series stalls, and the Lions will be forced to punt.
Well, and what does Drew Brees do? What do Peyton Manning do? What do all the Brett Favre? They throw open their wide receiver. And Drew Stanton, and the guy hadn't had 30 throws in pro football, so hard to think of him even on close to being on that level. But when the receivers covered like that down on the sideline, especially when the defender's playing the upfield shoulder, Chris, you've got to fire it to that back shoulder of your wideout.
Preston from his 30 and is brought down right away. That's Nick Harris, who was already playing injured, his non-kicking leg. See the brace on the knee and the plant. He came over, needed to be checked by the doctor. That brace either slipped or caused further injury. He's already got Nathan Hodel in for Muleback as the snapper. Special teams taking a hit for the Lions. Pass was tipped but held on to by Ben Patrick on first down for the Cardinals. Touchdown toss from Warner to Fitzgerald, a Hightower run and a field goal, and that's what has a Arizona 17-0 lead. You know, the Lions must lead the league in meetings. They got to produce some results. You saw Culpepper's conversation.
How many meetings has he been part of? Dominic Raiola.
In the middle of it all.
And he has been grinding it out for about 9 years here. You think of all the losing and all the coaching changes for him. It's an amazing guy mentally to try to keep it all straight.
2nd and 6 for Howling, the rookie. And it is going to be 3rd down now. Ernie Sims over there covering for the Lions. Well, if Detroit with Drew Stanton, if they get a stop on defense, can get something going offensively, the game may not be out of reach. Sims looked like he's...
No, I think he's upset with himself. I think he wanted to take that one back to the house.
Well, they had a couple opportunities, as you said, to make plays on defense that could have turned the game around, but they just haven't done it. Cardinals are 2 for 6 on 3rd down. Hightower is in. Pass is incomplete, and that one could have been picked off. It'll force a punting situation.
And they are sending the house on Kurt Warner, and Kurt was ready. Kurt found the hot read, but the hot read didn't know he was hot. Anquan Bolden. And the blitz came right off of his face, and it was D'Angelo Smith that was bearing down on Kurt Warner, and Kurt unloaded it to the right guy in the right spot. Anquan Bolden didn't get his head spun around. When you're a receiver and you know a blitz is coming, you got to spin your head quick, locate the football.
See if Ben Graham will pin him again with Northcutt back. By the way, that was Marvin White who had the chance at the pick. And the Australian kicks it out of bounds. Stanton into coverage and intercepted. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. 2nd of the game, 5th of the season. And I don't know if the intended receiver was ever really open.
Well, good pressure here by Kenny Awebama. He's going to get up inside, go around Dylan Gandy. He's going to get right in that throwing window, and the receiver was just never open. I mean, Brian Johnson, excuse me, was never open. Look at Cromartie is going to face guard him. You're going to have a safety behind him. Very, very poor decision by Drew Stanton, Chris, to even unload that football out there to Brian Johnson. That wasn't even close to having an open receiver.
And on a 1st down play, he's 3 out of 4. Culpepper sent to the bench after going 6 for 12 and a pick. Culpepper was sacked twice, but now it's the Cardinals football, and they're already in the red zone. They are deadly here. Warner intercepted. It's the rookie, Louis Dalmas, still going, and Dalmas is in the end zone. From Western Michigan, the nickname the Missile, and he took off like one.
And watch this window close, because he wanted the receiver right down the seam. And Louis Delmas just read it the whole way. Now watch him get down the sideline. Block from Cliff Averill right there on Warner. And then Delmas is just going to take it to the house. Very, very good job by him reading the eyes of the quarterback. Warner was late unloading it, made a perfect break on the ball. That's what I'm talking about. You get an opportunity, make it. That was a huge, huge play by him.
101 yards. And I know Cardinal fans might have had a Super Bowl Steeler flashback with a guy a lot slower than Delmas, but he did a nice job of not stepping out of bounds to run that all the way back. A shaky 2nd half for Kurt Warner, and the interception run back by Delmas. By the way, the longest in Lions history, Bob Smith, 102 yards back in 1949 when Detroit played the Bears. But what a play by Delmas, not just to get it, but to go all the way.
Well, and let's remember, the guy's got 2 bad wheels. He came into this game with an ankle injury on one foot and an Achilles injury, the back of his ankle on the other foot. No problem right there as he took it to the house down the sideline.
So Hansen kicks off, and Stevens Howling, who bobbled last time to affect field position, has it here, and the rookie gets across the 26-27 yard line. Penalty flag comes out on the return. That might back the Cardinals up even further.
During the return, holding number 89 in the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Ben Patrick. Breaking through a tough hit is Beanie Wells, but from the 14, it'll be second down. He's got a great personality down that lights up a room when he comes in to talk, but he's ferocious on the field.
Well, he is, and I mean, they loved him at the Senior Bowl. I know all the coaches, everybody was raving about this guy out of Western Michigan, small school guy. Been the starter here from day one, and he's a ball hawk now. He's gotten to the quarterback with some sacks. He's picked up some fumbles. He's got a safety this year, and there you just see that touchdown going the length of the football field.
Jason Wright carries. Gets near, but is short of a first down. It'll bring up a big third down play. The Lions have a little momentum here. And if Ken Wisenhunt's team stalls, you would think, Ben Graham or not, the Lions would have good field position, trailing by 2 scores. The 49er fans watching this, and remember, they got moved to the later game because of weather in Philadelphia. If there's any way that the Lions could pull an upset, that would open the door for San Francisco and leave their playoff hopes alive. He didn't get it. Beanie Wells stopped short on 3rd and 1.
Boy, what a play by Ernie Sims and fill in the hole. He is just going to get into that B gap between the guard and the tackle and watch Ernie fly in there, come from the backside, and there's just nowhere for Beanie Wells to go. Nowhere. I mean, very, very good job front side by Grady Jackson holding at the point of attack, but Ernie Sims is the guy that made that play, getting in the backfield, shooting his gun, and getting a tackle for loss.
So Graham on his way to the Pro Bowl. Philip Buchanan is back to return the punt and has it for the Lions. And goes out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Happy holidays to all the servicemen and servicewomen watching around the country. Fitzgerald 3 catches in the game with a touchdown. Calvin Johnson has just 1 catch. Drew Stanton continues to lead in the second half. They're going to pitch it to Morris. And Maurice Morris has room down the sideline. He scores, but there is a penalty flag back at the 35-yard line of the Lions. And Jim Schwartz knows.
I think he's made go defensive holding on Arizona.
Holding number 98 for the defense. The penalty is declined. The one will play the touchdown.
A 64-yard touchdown run by Maurice Morris. And yes, Tim, the flag was on the Arizona defense. What is going on at Ford Field?
Well, the Lions are playing some football is what they're doing. And what do we talk about in the open? They are blocking. They are tackling. And that time you are going to see a great example when we show it to you of a terrific block by Jeff Backus getting the edge. And then, of course, I think Maurice Morris down the field doing a great job being patient, letting his block set up in front of him and then punching it into the end zone.
A career-high run for Maurice Morris, and it's Detroit's longest run of the season. And it gets the Lions to within 3 if Jason Hanson can put an exclamation point on this extra point. There is a penalty flag down. Strange on that Morris run to have defensive holding. Let's see what the flag is here.
Offside defense, number 21. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. The point after is good.
Playing with a 3rd-string quarterback, a backup running back, and an offensive line that's been reshuffled during the game. And Maurice Morris, 14 carries, 103 yards. The first 100-yard game of the season, the 6th for his career. And credit the guys in the trenches, guys who the coaching staff got out in the first half when there were numerous penalties that put him in a hole. So that's the rookie, Larot Stevens, howling. And all of a sudden, those Cardinal playoff hopes are hanging by a thread, at least for today. What a boot by Hanson. Down that, says Howley, will take it on the 20-yard line.
When you get explosive runs, you got receivers, Chris, blocking downfield. Perfectly is able to shield off Antrell Roll from getting to Maurice Morris. Well done by Calvin Johnson.
Now it's noisy in here. Hightower at the 27-yard line. The swarming Lion defense led by Delmas. How does a coach reverse the momentum?
Well, you make a couple plays. You make a couple of plays, and I think Warner's just got to take what the defense gives them. And if they're going to drop back and try to pressure with 4, which they've been doing since about midway through the second quarter, sprinkling a little blitz in here or there, Warner's got to read it and he's got to deliver the football. They've got to be on the same page. When the hot route's hot, find the hot. When they're getting into the zone, he's got to deliver it underneath. Guys have to break tackle.
Oh, Hightower smothered. Barreling in was Ernie Sims. What a stop.
Well, number 50, Ernie Sims, is having a whale of a football game today. He and Larry Foote were on a run blitz, and they were both in the backfield just after the ball carrier got the ball. Watch 55 and 50 just collapse it. Now, if you're Arizona, it's time for an ISO pass. Get that play action pass going. Those linebackers are firing in there hard. You won't see it here, but if they get into the medium situations, they got to get the play action going.
Incomplete. There was pressure coming. He threw it for early Dorsett. It was low. And now Jim Schwartz defense with a big stop. He'll get the football as the Cardinals are forced to punt.
Well, and again, that time just not on the same page. They brought the pressure. D'Angelo Smith has been a big part of it. Look what they've done here in their run defense here in the second half, which has forced Arizona into the situations where they're not typically used to, that being 3rd and 6+. That time Warner versus the blitz tried to unload it to the hot receiver Doucette. They weren't on the same page.
Buchanan back for his second straight punt, replacing Northcutt, who fumbled earlier. What a move by Buchanan. The Lions have come to life. 3:36 to go in the third, a 16-yard return. And remember, the Cardinals do control their own fate in terms of going to the playoffs. All they need to do is win 2 games, regardless of what anybody else does. And they'll be home for the final 2 games of the regular season, St. Louis next week. And then they finish against the Packers, as Ben Patrick is assisted to. But this is a game, especially when you heard them talk to him, they felt they were better than San Francisco and should have been able to win that game. And certainly that was the feeling coming here.
Now give Detroit some credit. I mean, they've come out and slammed the door in the second half in the run game, and then they've been able to make some plays on defense. The big Delmas interception that went to the house for a touchdown, and then give the coaching staff some credit for at halftime of a game making some lineup changes, bringing in John Jansen at right tackle, bringing in Daniel Loper at left guard, and after they did that, Maurice Morris took it the distance for a 64-yard touchdown, the longest, Chris, of his career.
And now you got a young quarterback who has limited playing experience facing a Super Bowl defense, or a Super Bowl caliber defense of the Cardinals, as Drew Stanton on the injured list, officially his 3rd year out of Michigan State, the 2nd-round draft pick, who started the second half because Culpepper was inefficient. We have a penalty flag thrown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 97, the defense.
I don't know what he said, but Brian Robinson was talking to Jeff Triplett before the Lions ever got out of the huddle.
Well, Triplett's trying to calm him down and say, look, he's probably saying, look, they're holding me. I don't know what he's saying, but I'm sure he's complaining. Triplett's kind of calm him down, and then I think here comes a couple of comments that Jeff didn't particularly care for, and they're going to do it again.
Unbelievable as Robinson walks over to where Ken Wisenhunt is with Jeff Triplett. There's Bill Davis, defensive coordinator, saying that's enough. Back-to-back unsportsmanlike penalties.
There is a second unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 97 in the defense. That's 15 yards and an automatic first down.
So he's on the sideline watching, and that was just a 30-yard pickup for the Lions.
That's just lack of discipline. I mean, you got an official talking to you, and I understand you got a gripe. but you don't verbally assault the, and I don't know what he said, but clearly it was something that offended Jeff Triplett, and he threw the flag not once but twice.
Yeah, there has to be a time to back off before you hurt your team. And Ken Wisenhunt has said penalties are one thing. I don't mind aggressive penalties, but foolish penalties,
that's a mental error, and there's no tolerance for mental errors at this level.
Aaron Brown is a receiver on the right for Drew Stanton. That's him moving. And they give it to Aaron Brown. They've been setting it up all day. He's got room. He has a first down. Aaron Brown playing with a knee injury, firing up this crowd on a 12-yard end run.
Well, they've been setting it up all day, like you said, with that little zone play to the opposite side and faking the ghost reverse, which is going to bring this guy down. Going to bring Aaron all the way around, which they do. They get it just like they want it. And then Calvin Johnson is able to get just enough of Antrell Roll that it frees up Aaron Brown to pick up another first down.
Two tight ends in with Morris in the backfield. It's 1st and 10. Maurice gets it, goes nowhere. Cardinal defense tightens up. 2:50 to go. And Maurice Morris, that wasn't only the longest run this year. Look at that. That's the longest run by a Lions running back since 2005. And he's in for Kevin Smith, who's played his heart out before he got hurt, and they're waiting for swelling in his knee to go down. And Brian Robinson is back in after 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Penalty flag down. Stanton throws it away. It's in the area where Jake Norton went out on the right side.
Chris, I think he was in motion and went towards the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped. Norton in motion out to the sideline.
Third-year tight end, Pettigrew, Fitzsimmons.
Illegal motion. Number 85 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Correction. They have chosen to decline that penalty. It'll make it 4th down.
No, that's wrong.
Because he has the down one. It would be third down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so Jim Schwartz wants him to get it right. We understand that. Brandon Pettigrew and Casey Fitzsimmons on the injured list at that tight end spot. Norton called for the penalty. And now we have clarification. It will be 3rd and 7. They decline the motion penalty. And Derek Williams comes in for Drew Stanton. This Lions team, in fact, both of these teams, an entirely different third quarter.
Got Calvin Johnson working out of the slot.
For Brian Johnson, and incomplete. There was nowhere to go with the football.
Well, I thought he could have had Calvin. Calvin had the double team, the bracket leverage. If he had hit him to the middle of the field and thrown him open down the seam, I think he had an opportunity to get it there to Calvin Johnson.
Jason Hanson will line up. He missed the 54-yarder. We talked about how he's not having a great year, and he's admitted that he may be over kicking the ball. This will be a 37-yard attempt. Hitting at 71% this year. For the tie. He got it. The possibility of an upset here by the Lions would be monumental. There's a lot of things happening because we're in a tie game here with 2:04 to play in the third, and you watch Jim Schwartz on that sideline. Somebody might need to give him a decaf. LaRod Stevens-Howlick back to return for Hanson. Another good kick into the end zone, and this time he's bringing it out. And he is run down by Kevin Hobbs. On 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. Kurt Warner. Quick pass to the fullback, Kreider, who is hit hard. There's some tough hitting going on. Ernie Sims all over the place.
And they got to get out of the funk offensively. And like I said, I think we're going to see more play action. You see what Detroit has been able to do here in the second half of defending the run. They have really been setting the linebackers very aggressive on the rundowns with the run blitz. So expect to see more play action as we move along here. And they got to get out of that funk, Chris. I mean, 5 drives here in the second half for Arizona. 3 of the 5 have been 3 and out.
Beanie Wells checks in on 2nd down 2. He carries. That's Wells for a first down. You know, Kurt Warner told us about he's not sure where those things come from when the team plays inconsistent football, referring back to the Monday night game in San Francisco with 7 turnovers. Sometimes he's, you know, it's like it's piling on, but here you had a 17-0 lead, and we have an injured player on the field. That's Marvin White in the Lions secondary. But you would think that a team that has been to a Super Bowl could handle these kinds of waves.
Well, I think a couple of things. Number one is I know everyone thinks the Lions are a bad football team. It's hard to win in this league. I don't care who you are. It is hard to get wins. A lot easier to lose a game than it is to win. And then I think sometimes just the way that ball is shaped, and it bounces funny ways. And it was one of those nights last week, our Monday night for Arizona. I think the situation here is they're just getting outplayed at the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's real simple. There's no magic wand or magic formula. Chris, it's about beating the guy in front of you. And right now, the Detroit Lions, in all phases in this second half, are just beating the guys in front of them. They're taking it to the Arizona Cardinals.
Beanie Wells checks in. Anthony Henry, an extra defensive back on first down, and Wells carries and has to run wide and is brought down for a loss. Delmas was over there. So is Julian Peterson.
They're just doing a great job of defending the run. I mean, you can't do this any better. You're going to have Averill. There he is wide. They're going to try to kick it out, but watch the flow by number 59, Julian Peterson. They slant down inside with Averill. It's going to be a quick flow by Peterson. He bounces off the block. I mean, and then Delmas is there to help clean it up. I mean, you get out the grease board, you draw it up that way, and they executed it perfectly. It doesn't get any better.
Marvin White comes back in on 2nd and 12 from the safety spot. Warner has it, throws to Anquan Bolden, who's hit hard but keeps going towards midfield. Let's see where he stepped out, just short of the 50-yard line. D'Angelo Smith is the one who wrapped him up. An 11-yard pickup as Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator, looks on.
Yeah, and Gunther's done a nice job of changing it up today, getting pressure with 4 guys, but at the same time at critical areas, being able to blitz Kurt Warner and getting a free runner.
Delmas, a 101-yard interception return for a touchdown. Sims from the linebacker spots, but all over the place, and Averill up front has applied pressure on Kurt Warner. It's 3rd and 1. Hightower, first down Cardinals. And out of bounds at about the 42 where Larry Foote was there. But the Cardinals respond. Ernie Sims, by the way, 6 solo tackles and a couple of assists. And that's how it's gone. Look at that. That third quarter, all Lions, after the Cardinals built a comfortable halftime lead.
And which is different for these Lions. I think if you looked at them this year, the second half, they have been on a slippery slide downhill. That third quarter, Chris, may be the best they've played all year.
66% of the roster is new in Detroit compared to last year. They're playing that way right now. Warner for Fitzgerald. He's well covered. He got to the ball anyway, but is out of bounds. What an effort. William James was back there.
What a great catch. My goodness, what a great catch. And here's Fitz adjusting to the ball. Left toe down. Right toe never got down as he laid out for it. There's his right toe. Left toe tapped down. And then by the time he had to lay out and finally captured the ball, there was no way he could get his feet down inbounds.
Yeah, got to be careful with that bruised knee. He does have 3 catches in the game and a touchdown. He's gone over the 1,000-yard mark, as we mentioned, for the 3rd consecutive season. 2nd down 10. Pressure. Here it comes. They pick it up. Warner has Preston in the middle of the field. He has a first down inside the 20. Amazing. And here it's been about Maurice Morris, over 100 yards. Big defense by the Lions, but the Cardinals on the move after a 23-yard pickup to Preston. The handoff to Wells. Beanie Wells fighting. Touchdown Cardinals. He was dragging Larry Foote and William James into the end zone. An 18-yard touchdown run as Jim Schwartz looks on to the rookie from Ohio State with some 30 friends and family here from nearby Akron, Ohio.
Well, and this is just the gut play, one they had a lot of problems with last week. Block down, pull around front side with the guard. He gets the kick out on Ernie Sims. And then you have Beanie Wells breaking 3 tackles and taking it into the end zone. That was a vision of the Lions defense last week against Baltimore. Against that gut play was the same play, opposite side, touchdown Cardinals. Boy, what a great run by Chris Beanie Wells. You see DeAndre Levy there on the left, the 3rd-round pick of Detroit. You know how they found him, and Jim Schwartz told us that they were scouting Beanie Wells, and they needed a running back, and really liked Beanie Wells and Chris Wells and what he was all about. And they said, the more they watched him, the more they noticed that linebacker from Wisconsin was the only guy that could handle him one-on-one. So they didn't draft Wells, but they drafted DeAndre Levy. He's had a good year.
Mike Nugent kicks to Derek Williams. And Derek Williams has room. His best return of the day out to the 37-38-yard line. As Maurice Morris carries for the Lions, looking like Beanie Wells. First out at the 45 of the Cardinals before Antrell Rolle got to him. Morris, who's already over 100 yards, picked up 17 yards there.
They're just going to get him to the outside. Strong this way, so the defense is overloaded, so they're just going to get him to the weak side, and he's able to bounce it outside and then cuts back in. What a nifty little cut, as it looked like he was going to try to get to the perimeter. That being Maurice Morris, noticed a little daylight up inside, stuck his left foot in the ground, and got a first down.
He checks out, Aaron Brown checks in. Calvin Johnson is on the right side. Stanton comes back, throws low to Heller, his tight end, who has to go to the turf to try and catch the football. He did, and was down before the ball came out. Not a great throw from Stanton. 12:35 to go, and the Lions are trailing by 7 after battling back from being down 17-0. And indoors, one of the great indoor facilities at Ford Field, open since 2002, but they do have a window here and a little sun.
No, it's an awesome venue.
Breaking
really
through.
Is. They did a great job with this place.
A bright spot here in the 4th quarter. The Lions hope will come from their offense. Aaron Brown is thrown to the turf. Darnell Dockett.
Well, and this is why this guy is one of the best defensive tackles in the entire pro game. Watch what Darnell Dockett is able to do here with his athleticism and staying on his feet. Try to chop? I don't think so. Never goes down to the ground, and then has the awareness to keep his eyes open and get a huge tackle for loss. See, the tight end tried to get to his legs, chop him down. No way. Then he's going to wrap up. He's going to run his feet. And he's going to get a tackle for about a 3-yard loss.
And this is where that Cardinal postseason defense can come into play on 3rd and 13.
Got some man-free coverage working.
And throws it for Williams, the rookie from Penn State, and it's incomplete. So that will bring up a punting situation for Stanton and the Lions on 4th and 13.
Yeah, really nice little play versus man coverage, and they're going to get Derek Williams down there, and they're going to get him to the outside. Little crossing route versus the man. There was a gap there. Drew Stanton just overthrew it.
5th punt of the game for Nick Harris. Steve Preston, former Michigan Wolverine, standing back at his 10-yard line. After an explosive 3rd quarter from the Lions, they stall early here. He handles the high snap. Good-looking kick. Fair catch is bobbled, fumbled, and the Lions have it. Zach Follett scooped it up when it went through Preston's hands. A major miscue by the Cards.
Yeah, and Steve Preston just misjudges it. When you're returning a punt, it's like playing center field in baseball. You've got to gauge the ball, you got to judge the ball, you just got to get underneath it. And here, watch it comes down further in front of him than he anticipated. As a matter of fact, I think right there, the defender interfered with him just a little bit. As you see, he's going to flinch and pull his hands back.
But he does a nice job of getting out of the way.
That's a good job by Cedric Pierman. Really, really good job.
It was
making that return guy flinch just enough where he couldn't cleanly field the punt.
Pierman, a backup running back, activated this week. Stanton with time, off the hands. In the middle of the field, he had Maurice Morris. Morris picks up a couple of yards. And the turnovers in the first half hurt the Lions, and the Cardinals were able to capitalize. Let's see what Detroit does here with just over 10 minutes to go. Jim Schwartz facing third down. What do you look for here, Tim?
Well, obviously Calvin's been your big guy. Excuse me. Anytime you get down near the end zone, just with his height and his ability, but it's going to have to be someone else besides him, I think.
He's at the bottom of the screen on the right side. Derek Williams in motion. They fake to him. Stanton keeps the ball and gets near, but looks to be short of the first down, and it may be decision time for Jim Schwartz and the Lions.
And you're just not going to look at. I mean, look at this. Is that a double team or what? You got two guys both outside the hash marks on Calvin Johnson. That's why it says it's going to have to be somebody else.
Tuck and Stanton, and that's good defense to keep him from getting near the first down, knocking his helmet off.
They're going to go for it here. They brought in a couple of extra big bodies.
Yeah,
so they're going to go into their jumbo package.
Gouser Sherless comeback is in, and John Jansen also on 4th and 1. Looks like they might need to burn a timeout here to discuss it. Jerome Felton in, 4th and 1, trailing by 7. Felton has it, and he looks to be short, but let's see where they spot the football. Dockett wrapped him up. That red line is just an indicator, not the official marker, as they'll use change for that if they think it's worth the measurement.
It's going to be awfully close. I think he's going to be a little bit short myself. You can see it there from the red line, which isn't official, but what a huge play by Darnell Dockett. Getting in the backfield, getting his hands on the ball carrier, and then just hanging on and wrapping up Felton with both of his legs, and just wrapped both legs up, squeezed him together, and got him down to the ground before he could lay out. And let's see, before the first down mark. Yep.
And it looked like the red mark was official. So the 4th down gamble, and it's one Jim Schwartz had to make or take. They come up short.
There's Darnell Dockett on the left, number 90, and here he is on defense. And watch him just blow past the face of Gosder Cheryl, as Gosder had no chance of blocking him. You know, every game there's one or two plays that you can look back on that may have won it for you. That could be one of them right there. That was huge.
Wells carries and gets a yard, maybe two, coming off the biggest run of his rookie career so far, as Dockett talking to Gerald Hayes about making that big play.
Well, and I think, you know, you look at this Cardinal team, and everybody talk about Coach Wisenhunt, and he's done a great job of flipping the culture. But you look at the core of this team, Dockett being one of them, Dansby being one of them, Wilson, Roll on defense, offensively, Reggie Wells, the two receivers, Bolden and Fitzgerald, bringing in Warner as a free agent. Rod Graves has done such a terrific job, Chris, of assembling the core of this football team over the years.
The GM of the Cardinals on 2nd and 8 from inside their own 10. Warner going down, gets rid of it. Jason Hunter again applying pressure, and they've done a good job. A problem the front four has had during the year of at least getting to Warner, and Schwartz wants him in the grass.
Well, and if you're going to play zone, which they do here, you've got to be able to get pressure with 4, and they do it. And he turns the corner on Levi Brown and is able to get Kurt Warner. And now you see the flag. We're going to see an intentional grounding here on Arizona, loss of down.
Intentional grounding, number 13 on the offense.
Boy, Schwartz is making all
Half
the right
distance to the goal.
Yeah, but
all the right calls officially.
Loss of down.
No,
Third down.
The loss of down is the one that's
did
the
not
killer.
Get the ball back to an eligible receiver while in the pocket under pressure.
Yep, and the right call by Triplett. But again, I mean, listen, Jimmy Schwartz did a great job of switching some of the guys in the lineup, but it's guys like Jason Hunter that are making plays today. This is the best game Jason Hunter, in my opinion, has played all year long. You could say the same thing for Cliff Averill on the other side. They are whipping the guy in front of them. That's why they're in this football game.
And look at this crowd. They're standing here on 3rd and 13. In Detroit, they've seen tough times, supporting the home team on a big play here. He dumps it off to Hightower, who is going to be short of a first down. It'll force a punting situation for the Cardinals. I don't know if I've seen a Lion team this inspired.
Well, you know what? They're making their own situations. I mean, the good pressure right there by Hunter forces an intentional grounding and the loss, so they're way back, and now it's 3rd and extra long. And then when it's like that, it's pretty easy to defend. You keep everybody back, you force the quarterback to throw it up in front, and you rally up and make a tackle.
So Ben Graham tries to change the field position game as Philip Buchanan takes it from the 31-yard line and gets across the 41-42-yard line. Just over 8 minutes to go. Great field position for the Lions, who trail by 7. And we have an injured player. That's Philip Buchanan. They'll tend to on the field. Buchanan holding his chest. Veteran trainer Dean Kleinschmidt and the medical staff helping him off the field.
I think it's the way he came down on his shoulder. I mean, that's the classic holding the shoulder right there. And as he came down on his left shoulder, Mike Leach, the long snapper, pounced on top of him at about the same point that his shoulder was making an impact with the ground.
Drew Stanton in trouble. Throws low, but Morris makes a nice catch and is brought down short of the 50-yard line. They haven't gotten a lot out of Drew Stanton, and he may be hurting.
Yeah, he is. I think he got one of his wheels got nicked a little bit as Darnell Dockett closed the gap on him and wrapped him up and finished. Watch Dockett. So he's going to get him here, stretches out, and you see, yeah, just kind of twisted his feet up. Boy, what a play by Maurice Morris.
2nd down, 2 after an 8-yard pickup. The emergency quarterback is Matthew Stafford. Stanton stays in. Culpepper's healthy, but went to the bench after the first half. Stanton for Calvin Johnson, who has 1 catch today. 1 catch for 8 yards. An excellent coverage by the Cardinal secondary. Maurice Morris has carried this offense regardless of who the quarterback has been.
You know, it's been a frustrating day for him. It's been a frustrating year for Calvin. 1 reception, 8 yards in the game today. Has had a couple of big blocks, but they got, as I said, and as they say every week, there's 2 guys defending him. At least, and you got to give him a chance at double coverage. And the thing that you at least like about that is Drew Stanton put it up and put it long enough to where really only Calvin can go get it. The critical error is underthrowing him. We've seen Culpepper do it a few times over the last few games.
They're throwing on 3rd and 2, and Stanton has Calvin Johnson. He's still on his feet. They finally got it to the big guy for a first down at the 26 of Arizona.
Well, watch the tight end Hiller. He's going to open it up, and then you're going to have a slant route from Calvin Johnson, and the quarterback Drew Stanton just threw him open. I mean, he was covered by Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie on the front side. Stanton throws it to the back shoulder, the only place that Calvin could go get it. That's a very good throw by the quarterback Drew Stanton, by far his best throw of the football game.
And a 24-yard pickup. The Lions are on the move, trailing by 7. And somebody looked like Calvin Johnson flinched.
Yeah, it was him out of the slot.
That's one of your flinching points you keep talking about. Not funny for Jim Schwartz because it'll back him up. They had this problem.
81 of the offense.
In the first half.
5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So now it'll be 1st and 15. They've thrown to him 7 times, but that last catch a big one. Because with 6.5 minutes and 2 timeouts and trailing by 7, they went for it last time on 4th down and 1. 4 downs here. Maurice Morris. And Stanton is limping after the completion as his left sock was pulled down.
Well, and it was the same guy, too, putting the heat on him, Darnell Dockett, coming up inside.
You know, Tim, he looks a little like Matthew Stafford in that game against Cleveland when he threw the 5 touchdown passes and left being hit in the shoulder. led the Lions to their second win. They're trying to get their third win of the season here. Morris has it in the middle of the field. Short of the first down. It'll bring up third and short for the Lions. The Cardinals need to win 2 games, 2 of their remaining 3, to win the NFC West.
It's good to see Drew Stanton finally get an opportunity to make some things happen, and he's done a decent job. There's no question. And what I like most about it is there's been pretty good heat on him, but he's been able to keep his eyes downfield and find guys in the intermediate passing game.
Aaron Brown is in. Morris out on 3rd and 2. Stanton throws and has a first down. All the way down to the 5-yard line. That's Jake Norton, the tight end. A well-designed and executed play.
Well, this defense has lost their edge. We can go back to the Tennessee game 2 or 3 weeks ago. We covered that game, and they couldn't get off the field. Well, they played very good against Minnesota the week later, but in San Francisco running the ball. But it's these situations when teams need to score, and at the end of the game, when they just can't stop the bleeding on the defensive side of the ball.
So 1st and goal. Derek Williams has it towed, and he get into the end zone. No call yet. He is down at the goal line. And the ball came out. He did not get into the end zone, but he was called down, so there is no fumble recovery.
Yeah,
for the
let's
Cardinals.
see if this one gets reviewed. You're going to see the red flag here. I think you're going to see the red flag by Ken Wisenhunt.
Well, it's definitely not a touchdown. Did he fumble before he was down?
No.
He's down. He's clearly down.
The red flag is out there. Like I said, Ken Wisenhunt and the Cardinals have chosen to challenge this. And I think they're going to lose it from what we've been able to see. It looks like the ground does cause the fumble.
The forearm
right
as well. There. That's down. But worth a challenge, why not?
You bet. If anything, you get a little breather for your defense.
Arizona is challenging the ruling on the field of down by contact short of the goal line.
Couple of pensive coaches. 3:51 to go in the 4th quarter. Arizona leading by 7. It was not a touchdown, but Derek Williams got to the goal line. It was ruled down on the field. The Cardinals have challenged, saying it was a fumble. Is there enough there to overrule that?
No, I don't think there is. I think there's enough there to confirm it, actually, that he was down. I mean, the ground can certainly can't cause a fumble. It can cause an incompletion in the passing game, but it cannot cause a fumble, and I think Jeff Triplett is going to see it under the review just like they saw it on the field.
Any part of the forearm on the field
After
would be down.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner is down by contact. Arizona is charged a timeout and their first challenge.
Well, just as you called it, Tim, and it's a loss, so the Arizona has 2 timeouts, as do the Lions remaining.
Yep, and a good call and a good challenge by Ken Wisenhunt. I mean, you're down there at the half-yard line, and again, from his vantage point, he clearly couldn't see if it was out or not. And like I said, if anything, you give your defense a little bit of a breather and let them kind of recoup. They've been on their heels this drive.
So 2nd down and goal. Maurice Morris has checked back in. 3 wide receivers with Derek Williams, the rookie, who just made that last catch for the Lions. Touchdown, Drew Stanton. Kind of a Ford Field flop. But he's excited, and with the extra point, Tim, we have a tie game here.
Well, and you saw where they went. They went right on the other side of Darnell Dockett, and wisely so. They went right behind Daniel Loper to the left side. There's Dockett right there, number 90. You saw he had great penetration. Good play call by Scott Linehan, just taking the sneak to the opposite side. They get very good push there on Bertrand Berry. They took him a couple of yards into the end zone. Terrific block by Jeff Backus.
And the first rushing touchdown in Drew Stanton's NFL career. Hanson with the extra point. We're tied at 24. Culpepper started because of the shoulder injury to Matthew Stafford. Stanton took over in the second half, and 24 second half points is why the Lions are in this game. Now, if you're Kurt Warner and the defending NFC champions,
you just got to run your offense. I mean, you got plenty of time. Obviously, the protection on Warner has been an issue, to say the least, here in the second half, but all kinds of time left. You still have the whole playbook open. You're in a tie game. You got to see some championship football if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan right now. What you don't want to do is what's happened to him a lot here in the third quarter is get the 3 and outs, and your defense is right back on the field again.
So Jason Hanson for Laurent Stevens-Howling, who will run from his own 2 and has some room and gets out across the 30, across the 40. Excellent field position for Kurt Warner, who is 21 out of 35 for 215 yards. He has a touchdown. He has an interception. 3 wide receivers, actually 4 now, as early Doucette checks in. Tim Hightower's the back. Fitzgerald has it. It's a first down at the 45 of the Lions. And when the game is on the line, the 38-year-old veteran usually is at his best. And Larry Fitzgerald, more than 7,000 receiving yards in his career at age 26 and 111 days. He's the youngest player to ever reach that milestone in that amount of time in NFL history. More importantly, the Cardinals need a score. Beanie Wells. Beanie Wells inside the 20, inside the 15. Over 100 yards for Beanie Wells.
Well, it's that same gut play. It's the same exact play that they had the touchdown on. You're going to get a down block. You're going to get a pull around. Watch the fullback lead up. Hit Marvin White. Right there. Terrific job. You see the vision by Chris Beanie Wells of using his blocks perfectly. I mean, he is already running downhill, and he sets up the defender and then cuts off the tail of Dan Kreider. That was awesome.
A 33-yard run. He has 107 yards on 16 carries. First 100-yard game of his career.
And a very good play call by Ken Wisenhunt and Russ Grimm, the run game coordinator and offensive coordinator. That's the play that Detroit couldn't stop last week. That was the gut play where you just block down with the tackle, you pull the front side guard around, you lead up in the hole. They had huge issues against Baltimore and Ray Rice. And when they have been gashed in the run game the couple of times by Beanie Wells, it has been with that same exact play.
And there is Russ Grimm, a future Hall of Famer. As Jim Schwartz's team called a timeout, so the Lions will have 1 left. 2:48 to go.
I just keep running that gut play. Why not?
And it's amazing, this Cardinal offense, when they've needed the critical play, they've called on Beanie Wells in the ground game. And Wells has it again. Knocked out at the 7-yard line, 7.5-yard line. And Beanie Wells looks like he's going to check out for a moment. Clock continues to run as Tim Hightower checks in. Anthony Henry, by the way, has come in for Phillip Buchanan. We saw him hurt on the punt return, and he is unable to play at the corner spot. Meanwhile, Wells is ailing.
Man, he took a big shot as he was going down right to the grill.
Second on the
6.
forehead. They're at the 8-yard line. Hightower ran right into Larry Foote. It'll be 3rd down Cardinals. Should the Cardinals need a field goal to decide this game, it's that man, Mike Nugent, who was signed this week, cut earlier in the year by the Bucs. Neil Rackers has a groin injury and out for the next couple of weeks. But it's 3rd and 3. Laurent Stevens-Howling checks in as a receiver on the far side with Fitzgerald. That's Bolden in motion. Bolden has it, and Quan Bolden is in for a Cardinal touchdown. He weaved his way. Sixth catch of the game. First time in the end zone for Bolden. And it gives the Cardinals the lead with 1:54 to go.
And had a very good block out in front of him. Obviously, you see the block right there. But I'll say this, Arizona got away with one. Jeremy Bridges, that was a false start on number 73 out of left tackle. There is no doubt he moved before the ball was snapped.
On to kick the extra point. Looks like we're going to get a review upstairs. Is Jim Schwartz? He cannot challenge, obviously. That's the official review.
Well, right here. This is what he's upset about. What's the left tackle here, Jeremy Bridges? How's that not a false start?
No, that is absolutely a false start. Now, is that something that they can review? Because technically, if the play starts before the 2-minute warning, but this started after the 2-minute warning. Let's take another look at that touchdown by Bolden.
Yeah, he's going to get a good block from early Doucette, who's lined up out at the X receiver, weak side receiver. And let's see what Bolden does here. As he's going down. Yeah, that ball is the elbow down before the ball crossed the plane. That's what you got to look at.
Ruling on the field and confirmed it is a touchdown.
So the official review upstairs had nothing to do with the false start that you spotted. It had more to do, did Bolden cross, and it was called a touchdown on the field and confirmed. So the 5-yarder from Warner to Bolden gives the Cardinals the lead as Mike Nugent comes on to boot the extra point and make it a 7-point difference. The Lions have 1 timeout remaining. It was a big 3rd down play, and the Cardinals didn't settle for 3. They punched it in the end zone.
Well, and look at that guy. You can tell he's a beast physically. I mean, he is hard to stop. We talked about it earlier. When he gets his hands on the ball and underneath coverage, I mean, he's arguably one of the best guys at being able to get yards after the catch.
Mike Nugent and Derek Williams, the return man.
You got to wonder, too, in those afternoon games, how much of a factor is the weather going to be, Chris, in those games that were moved late?
This is Williams. Stopped just over the, well, he kept going from the 25 out to the 30-yard line, that extra effort, as Monty Beisel brings him down. And the reason we had some of those start times pushed back is look at the amount of snow in Philadelphia and in Baltimore, Pittsburgh as well. Now some of the,
at least they've got till Monday night, that being the Redskins. I mean, these ones, in trying to clear out all the snow and get all that snow, and for all the people that are trying to get to the stadium, very wise of the National Football League to bump those both to afternoon games.
A lot of that storm going north, so certainly games are fun to watch even if the snow has stopped. The field conditions will be an issue. Stanton for Calvin Johnson, who did a nice job of coming back to the football, because Dominic Rogers-Cromartie was thinking end zone.
Rogers-Cromartie had his crosshairs on this one. Here comes the blitz from this side. Stanton's going to throw it the back way, the backside, and that's just good work by Calvin Johnson, just being stronger than the defender and taking the ball.
That pass is incomplete for Williams. It'll be 3rd down. Remember, they only have 1 timeout, 1:20 to go. Trailing by 7 here. The Cardinals will keep extra defensive backs.
Well, they're going to keep it all in front of them is what they're going to do, and force Stanton to take the ball underneath. Minute 20 left, 1 timeout. Pretty quick here. He's going to start at least having to attempt to drive the ball down the field, getting some chunks of yardage.
Rogers scored, that's Stanton who scored on a touchdown run to tie the game before Bolden scored to give the Cardinals the lead. And Stanton, that's not what you want to do with the clock running, and now it's going to be 4th down. Carlos Dansby makes sure he didn't get near the 1st down marker. And they're going to have to use a timeout, the last for the Lions. Regardless of how this game winds up, you look on that Lions sideline and where we were, 17-0, Tim, with Detroit trailing in the first half. I know it is about victories. He said he didn't want moral victories, but compared to last week,
now much better effort.
We've seen progress.
They've been close in a lot of games this year, and I think one thing about them is, you know, you talk about all the injuries. These guys have always played hard. They really have. And they have been hammered with injuries, especially back in the secondary on the defensive side of the ball, and then losing the young quarterback, Matthew Stafford, who was really playing his best football when he got hurt. When he first hurt his knee, it's not just his shoulder. You got to remember, he's got a knee injury as well. He was playing his best football during the year against Chicago when he got that first injury to his knee.
Lions' last hope. On 4th and 3, and it's almost intercepted. It doesn't matter. The Cardinals will take over on downs. That was Rashad Johnson, the rookie from Alabama, who stepped in for Matt Ware, who went on the injured list. And the headset is off for Jim Schwartz with 1:06 to go and no timeouts for Detroit.
No, and he is going to simmer. I'm telling you, he will. And he wants to win now. In the next couple of weeks, he's got to find a win for his football team. He's going to simmer all offseason about how this season is gone. And he will get it right. I believe it. I mean, you talk about changing the culture, and it's a major uphill battle that Ken Whisenhunt was able to achieve with the Arizona Cardinals. And you definitely, even as bad as this year has been, you got to think that Jimmy Schwartz is still the right guy for the job.
Absolutely. 111 yards from Beanie Wells, a big touchdown run, and then Kurt Warner, his second touchdown pass of the game, providing the difference. This game produced by Mike Burks, directed by Sandy Grossman, the associate director Tom Yohe, broadcast associate Eric Mandia, technical producer Frank Phillips. The pregame show, Scott Ackerson, Bob Levy, and special thanks to Ray Bonassi, also Emmett McGuire, and good guy Gary Lynn up in the booth helping us out. The senior producer for Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports, Ed Gorin and David Hill. Plenty of football ahead on Fox with our doubleheader game. But one win away or a 49er loss, the Cardinals will be in the air flying on their way home when they might get word